Alright guys, welcome aboard. It's part 2 of our operations video here on the south side of the layout. We did 2 of the industries and that was in part 1. If you haven't seen that, go take a look at part 1 on my channel. So we've got 2 industries left to do here. We've got reliable lumber all the way down in Huntington Beach, and then SoCal Edison facility here. Reliable lumber is pretty straightforward. We're going to be picking up a center beam car and dropping off that flat bed car. Now Southern California Edison is going to get a little bit interesting. You can see we've got the brown box car there ahead of the locomotive. That one is going into the facility, but in the facility we actually have 3 cars, and you can see right there in the foreground the way it works at the facility. The spur kind of comes in to the right and then sort of what do you call it, like backtracks on itself there to the left, and you can see our 2 cars sitting in the facility there. Now we're going to be only picking up that yellow car right there, dropping off the brown one. The blue one stays, and off the screen just to the right there, the other box car is staying. That is sort of considered an off spot, so we'll go into that a little bit as soon as we finish up doing reliable lumber here. So we're stopping before the blue flag. That's the little electrical connector there that's blue. I use that to signify a blue flag. It's an industry flag moved by the industry. They put it out there because they don't want the trains just coming into the industry without a representative there to monitor what they're doing or give them special instructions, or just for safety reasons. So the industry has removed that, and we can go ahead and pick up our center beam car. Alright, we've got our center beam car out. We're going to go ahead and push that forward. And if you haven't seen or don't recall from the part 1 video, we've got a couple of pickups off to the left there that we've left on the sort of dead end main line. So we're going to shove our center beam all the way back into the main line track, and our other pickups sitting there. So it's kind of interesting that I've been doing the south side of the layout here lately, because I have been focusing on the north side of the layout, mainly with scenicking, but I've started doing more here on the south side, along with more operations here. And it's kind of interesting just the way the track layout is. It definitely seems like the conductor is going to have to do a little bit more running, doing switching here on the south side, just the way it seems to be working out, especially if I do the entire south side, if I do all the industries. Individual industries not so much, but just the way the track layout is, coming in with a full load of cars going to all 4 industries. There's times where the conductor has to run, you know, basically from the locomotive across like 5 or 6 cars. to get to the tail end. All right, we're almost done here at Reliable Lumber. Just gotta shove our flatbed into the industry, and then we can get started on SoCal Edison. All right, so as soon as we get off the industry property here, they will put their blue flag back on the track. And from the blue flag towards the train there, that's not industry property. That's owned by the railroad. And so we can start doing SoCal Edison here, because it's a little bit more complicated. Like I said in the part one, we're going to leave our drop-off right there on that incoming spur into Reliable Lumber, because you can see the track layout here. It's a little finicky. Now, one locomotive and 2 boxcars just fit into the industry, meaning that we can back in like this all the way to the right and basically just have 2 boxcars. As a matter of fact, I think 2 60-footers don't fit. It has to be the GP38, 2 50-footers, or 150 and 160 here on this little portion here, because the track ends just behind that boxcar there. So in order to get the 2 other boxcars out of the way, first thing we got to do is get this yellow rail boxcar out. Now, the way I have it set in JMRI, I guess this could be technically considered part of the industry where the cars get loaded. It could be like sort of like a secondary spur or a first spur. I have it set as an off spot. So it's actually an alternate spot for the track to the left. So that car that we're pulling out is officially in JMRI spotted at the industry off spot. So normally what JMRI would have me do is during a session here, it might have me take that car from the off spot and move it to the left and swap out one of those other cars, the yellow or the blue Golden West car, that are sort of in the actual facility, even though all 3 cars are actually in the facility. But for this one, I've actually set JMRI to do random car sort of movements in its figuring at 50%. And so for this particular move, we're not actually moving the car from the off spot to the left-hand side of the facility. It's just staying there, but we have to deal with it here because it's kind of in our way. So we're going to pull it out of the facility, leave it on the east side main line there. And now that we've cleared it out of that off spot spur, I guess I'm going to call it, we can come back into the facility and pick up our other yellow rail box car to the left, because that's the one that we need to pick up. And again, I might be going a little bit faster for the sake of doing a video here at times, but generally I have the bell on during the whole time when I'm in the facility here, and also adhere to sort of a slower speed limit. The actual Southern California Edison facility has got a lot of work areas, and they make transformers. If you don't remember that from one of my last videos where I was talking about it, but they make transformers. That's why you see that big one sitting in the background there behind the blue box car. And a lot of coming and going and different activities happening all around the lot here, and that's what I plan on modeling now that I've started working on this end of the layout. So I generally kind of make believe that the facility has a speed limit for locomotives moving around in the facility, and that they require the bell. For the sake of the video there, I do not keep the bell on. And as you can see here, 250 footers and a GP38 just fit with maybe about an inch to spare, and that's where you could fit one 60 footer and a 50 footer there. And the track there is a little bit dirty since I haven't been using this side of the layout, so we kind of lost contact there with the locomotive. Had to adjust it slightly. The locomotive is an athearn GP38-2, a Genesis model that I have painted as renumbered Union Pacific 588. And I do have a current keeper in it, hence why the locomotive went back into that spur there and kind of still kept running, I think. And if it loses connectivity with the track, the light will stay on, the sound will stay on, except it won't respond to movement commands. And that's when I know that it's time to clean the track and touch with the locomotives to get connectivity back. Alright, so we've got our rusty rail box yellow car and the blue one out of the industry. We're dropping it off on that east side main line. Again, not all the way, because we're going to be shoving that car back again when we complete our work here. But we have to pick up our brown 60 footer there to the left that we left out on the incoming reliable lumber spur. And this is why I kind of designated that. I mean, at one point I think I had the entire spur was sort of owned by the reliable lumber, but I found that movements kind of get a little bit tricky here if we don't have a little bit of that track available for at least one car to be temporarily spotted. So I moved the yellow flag and the reliable lumber facility a little bit off to the left there, so it gives us just enough incoming spur where we can use it to do switching operations here at Southern California Edison. Alright, so back in we go with our brown drop-off and the Golden West service car that's going to get respotted back into its original spot. And again, this is a 60 footer, 50 footer, and the GP38. Will it fit? Just barely. I know it looks tight, but it actually does clear the turnout. And again, the plan is to add maybe an inch or two of track there to the far right, just to help facilitate that a little bit easier. At least because I'm sure there'll be times where I have two 60-footer cars. You got to move back in and out like this. Although I guess that would make for an interesting, more difficult operating puzzle, you might call it. We'll see. Like I said, I just started doing a little bit more operations on this side, so this is really kind of like a shakedown to get the kinks out a little bit and see where I might need to make adjustments or not. So one of the other things I can mention here, although we haven't used it in this operating session, we did run across one of the KD magnets that I used to have on the track here. There's only 2 spots. I actually bought magnets and put them on all the spurs when I first started building this. If you've been around for any bit of time and remember that from some of my earlier updates, after doing a little bit of thinking about it and stuff and realizing that I kind of wanted to model the real world actions of a local switching operation, the magnets really didn't jive with that, right? Because I want to be able to sort of model the exact things that happen, not 100%, but as far as feasible here on a small layout. I want to stop the train and have the conductor get out, make believe like he walks over to the switch there and flips it, and then actually locks the lock, and that's why I have the locks on the fascia there to sort of just take a second there in my operating sessions to actually perform that function. And so anyway, having the magnets on the tracks didn't really coincide with that, because you just kind of stopped and backed up and over the magnet and then shoved the cars in. And I can see that's convenient in some instances, maybe where it's hard to reach on a larger layout. And, I can see that being a nice convenience there. But on my layout and with what I'm trying to do and model, I realized I really didn't need that, and I didn't really want that. So I took all of the magnets off of the layout except for 2 locations still have one, and that's in Surfer's Outlet, which we switched out in part 1, and over at Samford and Son Salvage. There's still a magnet there, and I think the only reason I left those 2 was that they were the 2 magnets that just worked all the time. They worked just as they advertised. I don't know if it was the placement of the magnets, the cars that normally got serviced into those industries, but I just kind of left them there for the heck of it. But they'll probably be coming out anyway. So now I have a pile of KD magnets. If anybody wants them, we can make a deal. Alright, so we've picked up our off-spot car here that we had to shove out of the way, and we'll re-spot it back in our off-spot spot. Like I said, I was going to have that as sort of 2 different spurs in the industry initially. One right here where we left the car, and then the other one off to the left. But I thought it'd be at least a little bit more interesting to instead have it in JMRI as an off spot. That way it would allow cars to get repositioned from like basically one spur to the other spur, and add a little bit more interest to our operating sessions. Alright, there's the conductor flipping a switch, locking it up, having a little bit trouble on the locks there. As a matter of fact, I think I had one real world conductor or engineer, not sure, comment that they hate those locks, because sometimes I guess they are a little bit difficult to deal with, like you just saw our make-believe conductor having an issue there. Which, in the end, is the overall goal of modeling the real world in miniature here. So that kind of worked out kind of good, actually. That we had trouble getting that lock to work. Alright, so there you can see our other pickups. and kind of right on the turnout there. So in that center beam cars, those couplers are a little bit finicky. They sort of, not only do they move left and right, but the entire housing of the connector moves left and right. So sometimes they're a little finicky and out of place, especially on a curve or even the slightest curve there like we were on. Alright, so we are out of here, and that is how I switch out the south side of the layout for Huntington Beach, Westminster. Not sure what else is in between there or on there, but those little spots kind of where I'm modeling. So now we're heading back through the whole layout and back to Los Nitos yard in southeast LA. So guys, if you like that, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button, and if you're new and you made it all this way, hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed, and hit the bell button to get notified when I post videos. I try to do at least one, if not more, videos a week, switching off between layout updates and operation videos like this. It's a Thanksgiving week here in the United States, so I've been off, so that's why I've been doing a couple more videos, because I've had time here to work on the layout. So guys, hope you all have a good Thanksgiving, and take care till next time. Bye.